Those eyeballs have really gone to your head, haven't they? The anarcho-pozo wants to come to his own conclusions about blockchain. Yes, I love you too.
Don't get me wrong, we're both on the same side. We're both fighting
The revolution!
I just know the truth. I know that cryptocurrency is how we're going to succeed in our revolution. I know that the blockchain is how we're going to upend this entire system and have it work democratically for everyone. So saddle up, Billy Buddy. Someone was wrong on the internet, and that means I have the right to correct them with righteous indignation and fury. Now, Slime is a big boy. He can make his own arguments, so I'm going to let him do that.
What if the money wasn't accepted most places? And also, could at any moment suddenly drop in value based on literally nothing? What if this money were managed by just whoever wanted to, and without any care put into security so that any random hacker could crash the economy? Enter cryptocurrency, a new kind of fake money made from extremely complex math puzzles for computers.
I'm not addressing the security issue because it's simply untrue. Blockchain is perfect, unchanging, unhackable. Now, people can still lose their individual wallets. They're going to store them in imperfect ways and give them a password like password 123. Nothing's going to change that. But for the actual financial system itself, that cannot be changed or hacked, or taken advantage of, or manipulated. At this moment in history, cryptocurrency can't be exchanged like other currencies, like pesos, yen, dollars, for goods and services. The value of cryptocurrencies right now is based on what people think it is worth, or will be worth in the future. It's stocks, basically. But that's not the end goal. It's not supposed to stay here forever.
Money might not be perfect, but it's the only thing that works. But obviously it doesn't, right? Like, I really can't stress this hard enough. Our species is doomed.
Now, I can't blame you for not knowing this. You're just expressing your own opinions, and you share those opinions with a big group of people. This is very new information. But we've updated that problem away. Oh my God, you have no idea how excited I am to tell you this information. It's going to change the world. We fixed the problem.
What if we make a type of money that, instead of simply incentivizing people to wreck the environment, also directly wrecked the environment itself? The process is incredibly destructive to the environment, requiring unfathomable energy consumption and devouring expensive computer parts, which inevitably end up in a landfill.
We're changing the validation technique and removing 99.9999% of the energy cost. Two networks are changing their validation technique, Ethereum and Cardano. Rather than solving complex computer problems for
puzzles for computers,
we're going to have random leader selection among those who secure a deposit in the network. Those that act honestly are rewarded with the fees from the whole transaction block, and those that act dishonestly or cheat have their money burned. Why? Because it's about sending a message. Blockchain is all about truth, honesty, and decentralized power. Attempting to play by your own rules or game the system are quickly found out and eliminated like a leech. Speaking of leeches, have you heard of banks?
Corporation worth trillions of loon circles.
They are a bug in our current financial system that allows a small group of people with very big piles of money to create imaginary money out of nowhere.
But what's the problem solved here?
Through a system called fractional reserve banking, they are able to take the amount of money they have inside of the vault and then loan out $9 more they don't have to other people. Those people then go spend this imaginary money as if it is real because we can't tell the difference, at least initially, which means that more people have more and more money to spend. This causes a bubble, but eventually that has to be paid back, and all of this imaginary money that was created is soon found out to not actually exist. And then we have to deal with the consequences, which is when it crashes. Through the process of fractional reserve banking, banks cause crashes and bubbles, and we shouldn't have either. The main point of cryptocurrency is that we can eliminate this manipulation of our markets from the whole system.
Shit is complicated.
Oh joy, we're on to part 2 now. NFTs, look. Not everybody is smart. People are stupid. It happens. If we take a moment to scroll through OpenSea, we can see nothing but degeneracy. Trading ownership of artwork and trading cards is probably the least useful thing that we could be doing with NFTs, I will grant you that. But as a
little note on the blockchain that says that that thing belongs to you.
They are permanent. They are unchanging. They do a better job representing ownership of something rather than a note on a database or a literal slip of paper. Paper can be burned. Paper can be burned. Can be burned. Torn. Lost. Forged. NFTs are unique and have one owner. Mathematically assured. They'll be used to represent things that you own. Your title, your deed, your birth certificate, your health record, your ID, your precious memories, your videos, or even the receipts that you get for a bag of peanuts. Before in the crypto revolution, all we could do was trade value for value, which is a small segment of the economy. Now we can trade value for ownership, which is all the rest of it. Not only that, Ethereum and Cardano are not just value and ownership, cryptocurrencies and NFTs. You can also run legal contracts through the blockchain, programming instructions through the blockchain, and vote over the blockchain.
Literally the same blockchain, like many NFTs are stored on the Ethereum blockchain, for example.
We have the ability with this technology to decentralize ownership, finance, contracts, political power, human legacy, and voting. Raise a glass to freedom, something they can never take away, no matter what they tell you. Yeah!
Okay, so that whole visuals thing where I go downstairs and I set up a camera and lights and film myself and run it through an AI in order to simulate that I have a green screen, because I don't have a green screen, but I still wanted to be on a green screen even though I didn't have the equipment, so I tried to make it work anyway. All that whole show, I'm not doing that anymore. Instead, it's just going to be a static image and I'm going to talk over it. So, the blockchain is a revolution, and all we have to do is start making transactions over its network, and we're able to circumvent an age-old system that has preyed upon a need that we have, because we need a lot of extra cash to spend, because we have to have the latest things that are pushed on us by consumerism, right? And we have to get an education, and we have to have a car, and we have to have a home, and all of those values for those things that we have to get these loans for, they're hugely inflated. If we didn't have the loans, then the prices wouldn't go up so high. We'd build more homes that we actually need, that are closer together inside of a community, instead of always building our homes single family apart from each other, and everybody has to have a car in order to drive to everywhere. The government and the banks have been working together with industry for a long time to push us on these hugely inflated assets that they make sure that everybody has to have. And then we all end up having these huge monthly payments that we just accept are going to eat into the value that we are able to create by our work. And then our costs increase every month, and the amount we earn per hour keeps getting lower, and it's no wonder that we're suffering under mental illness just rampantly. And we have the chance to cut them out of what we do with our money and make it so that when we have an amount that we earn per hour, we are paid that amount per hour. And if tips are included, then the tips are protected, because everything will go through a network that simulates truth and honesty, exactly how we program it to be. On a societal level, they keep robbing us. We keep letting it happen slowly because we're being boiled like a frog. And you don't notice it because it takes so long. I mean, if it takes 6 years, imagine 6 years ago. You weren't thinking about any of this. It just flies over your head. Or if you were, you had a completely different understanding of it as you do now. Everybody's trying to learn the system as early as they can so that they can participate in the one thing that's supposed to lift us out of poverty, is getting some kind of passive income or stocks that let you have a big payout moment. And that's when you'll be able to finally live life how you want life to be. But if we just had a little bit more democracy and a little bit more freedom and a little bit more power to the individual, then we'd all be able to just live like we want to, without having to put up with the bullshit that we have to go through every day, and the pain and the misery that we are forced to endure because we simply do not have enough money. And that's the biggest problem, is that we simply do not have enough money to deal with all of our day-to-day problems, because it keeps going up to the top. at an alarming rate, and we keep looking at the statistics on how high it's going, and it keeps getting higher. And at some point you have to wonder, how long are we going to take this problem? Because it can keep going up, and how long are we just going to sit around and do nothing about it? That's the main goal of cryptocurrency, is to cut out those who are leeches on the system. When the system at its purest form is just people transacting value for property back and forth over contracts that monitor what happens in between those two individuals. And those two individuals can be literally anyone. It can be a company, it can be strangers, it can be best friends. Any transaction that happens between individual people will happen over blockchain to keep everything away from the corrupt and towards the honest, because the computers will monitor it in order to make sure that no one is doing bullshit with the money that we all use. We all use these things that monitor value. It goes back and forth between people. You get money when you work, or when you pay off an investment, or when you do anything that you work towards. And you lose money for the things that you want or the things that you need. And at our current rate, those laws that govern that system need to be taken out of the hands of those with the most to gain from it and given to everyone. Because if that power was given to everyone, we would make different rules. And I don't know how long I want to wait before we get to make those different rules. I know that I'm pretty motivated. I don't know about anybody else that's listening to this video, though. How motivated are you in order to change the system that we conduct our finance over? I want to make demands of those that I make payments to. Say, hey, I want you to take my money over the blockchain. We can use a safe one if that scares you. But if you actually get into it, it's not that scary. You could trade $900 of USDC over the blockchain, and it would be just like paying $900 to someone over Venmo. You just have to get into the system. And getting into that system, that initial hurdle, I know there is an initial hurdle. You have to download a new app and sign up for everything and convince the people that you try to pay with it or get paid with it that something's wrong or weird about it. Because there's really nothing wrong or weird about it when you consider that every time we make a transaction over that network, we're one step closer to the future that will inevitably happen. Because there's a little thought worm that gets into someone's head when they understand that we can make different economic rules separate from those weird people you see on TV who have these meetings behind closed doors and they decide what happened. Because I think it would be better if we all got to vote on what happens, and the best and brightest who go through a peer-reviewed process are then given the funds to conduct the research necessary to make changes to a system that operates separately from humanity, so that can always be impartial and truthful, because there's no humans involved. Unfortunately, it seems to be the case that no matter how much you want it to be, the humans at the top don't seem to make decisions that are best for everybody. They keep making decisions that are good for them. And that's, good for them. It's just you were elected or rose to the top of your organization, I assume, because you would do the best for everyone. That's what you do with that power. But you keep not doing that. It just seems inevitable that if you give someone a bunch of power, they're gonna use it for selfish ends. I appreciate that you listened all the way to the end and you got through that. What I now look back on was a painful visual process, and it required a lot of editing for no damn reason. That said, I appreciate that I went through the time and effort required to do that, because I learned lessons that I hope I never have to use. Anyway, in the description below, I have donation links available that you can send money over the blockchain to me, and I would appreciate it if you do that. I have also set up a Patreon if you're not comfortable with that, but you still like what I do here. But what I would really appreciate you doing is using the referral code to set up a Celcius account and to deposit at least 200 of savings into that account. Because I will get $30, you will get $30, and you'll get to appreciate the 10% APR paid weekly and loans at 1% interest that I'm already getting from having a Celcius account. I want to count up how many people I can get to use that referral code until I can see 1 million people who are crypto converted. Once blockchain becomes big enough, we unlock a different system for our country, a better one for everyone, where we all get to vote and decide what happens, separate from what those people do in those closed rooms. And I look forward to living in that world, so we can stop being screwed by these doofuses who keep leading everything. I appreciate your attention. If you would like me to make more of this content, please like and subscribe so that I get the recognition to know that this is something that I should do more of. Remember, if anybody got their feelings hurt,
It's all just goofs and bits. All of this is goofs and bits. Anyway, I'm a child. It's not relevant. We're moving on.